Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hadith of the day. Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, said, the deeds are considered by the intentions. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Dr. Marina Akhtar, PGR Community Medicine and Public Health. Today, I have to critically appraise the article with title Malnutrition and Quality of Life in Older People, a Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis. I am presenting this topic. I am critically appraising this topic under the kind supervision of my professor, Dr. Saira Afsar. For the critical appraisal of this article, I have to use Prisma checklist. Here is the Prisma checklist. First of all, a title which I have read already, and then the abstract. Although the effects of malnutrition on morbidity and mortality of older people is well established, and there has been little work done to investigate the relationship between the malnutrition and quality of life in this population. In order to facilitate further research and to aggregate existing evidence into a clear overview, a systematic review was conducted. The objective was to identify the literature on the topic and review the findings systematically and assess the association between nutritional status and quality of life. Medline, Embase, CINAHL, and the Web of Sciences were searched for the relevant studies published up to April 2011. References within identified studies also serve. The primary author extracted all data using a purpose-built form and evaluated the quality of studies using a published checklist. A second reviewer checked a random sample of the article independently. Evidence in the current review comes from the both cohort studies and intervention trials. Results from the former suggested that individuals with malnutrition are more likely to experience poor quality of life, or ratio 2.85, 95% confidence interval, and p-value less than 0.001. Consistent with this, intervention designed to improve nutritional status can also lead to significant improvement in quality of life, both physical and mental aspects. However, the results should be interpreted with the caution in view of the poor quality of included studies and the heterogeneity of the methods employed in the assessment of the both nutritional status and the quality of life. Future studies should carefully characterize the participants and use the standardized parameters for nutritional and quality of life assessment in order to achieve the better evaluation and comparability of study results. Title and abstract. In the title, identify the report as a systematic review. Yes, as it was mentioned in the title, that the study is a systematic review and meta-analysis. And in the abstract, it should provide a structured summary, including as applicable background, objective data source, data eligibility, study eligibility criteria, participant intervention, study appraisal and synthesis method, results, limitations, conclusions, and implications of the key findings. Yes, as the abstract was unstructured summary of background, objective, data source was also mentioned, methods, results, and conclusions was mentioned, but not under the separate headings. Abstract was a unstructured summary. In the introduction, older people are high risk of malnutrition. A number of factors, including sensory losses, chewing, swallowing problems, and anorexia, together with acute or chronic disease, may compromise dietary intake and lead to nutritional deficiencies and malnutrition in the older people. And the purpose of this study was to identify the literature on malnutrition and quality of life, review the findings for both observational and interventional studies, systematically assess the association between nutritional status and the quality of life in older people, and to evaluate the impact of nutritional support on quality of life in older people. In the introduction, background or rationale, background and rationale. Explain the scientific background and the rationale for the investigation being reported. Yes, background is given and explained. Rationale is also clearly and well. Rationale is also clearly and well elaborated. Objective, yes, objectives are clearly defined. In the methods, relevant studies were identified through the comprehensive literature search up to April 2011. Electronic database, Medline, Embase, SINAHL, and Web of Sciences were searched using key terms: malnutrition, undernutrition, PEM, older people, frail and aged quality of life, health-related quality of life, SF36 or EQ5D as a mesh terms. And the following interventions and observational studies are involving participants ages 65 and over were included. Intervention studies that measure quality of life before or after nutritional intervention. Intervention studies that compare quality of life in a nutritional intervention and control cohort. The observational studies comparing quality of life in malnourished participants with control. Only studies that used validated instruments to measure quality of life were included. Studies that involve patients receiving a treatment that could affect their nutritional status, such as radiotherapy or chemotherapy, and the patient receiving long-term dialysis were excluded. Narrative review was also excluded. Odd ratio, standard difference in mean, 95% confidence interval are reported. Publication bias was examined by the funnel plot analysis and associated test statistics. In the methods, eligibility criteria, specify the inclusion and exclusion criteria. Yes, they mentioned the inclusion and exclusion criteria. Information source, yes, they mentioned the information source from the databases they mentioned. And the search strategy that was online websites. Then they've also mentioned the selection process that were the studies that were in their inclusion criteria, that were fulfilling their inclusion criteria. And they did not clearly mention the data collection process. And in the data items, list and define the outcomes for which data are sought and specify whether all results that were compatible and each outcome domain in each study were sought. These are not mentioned clearly. And the study risk of bias assessment, they mention about the bias publication, bias assessment. Effect measures specify each outcome, the effect measure, risk ratio, mean difference, that yes, they mentioned that. And synthesis method, they did not clearly mention the synthesis methods. And describe any method used to synthesize result, provide a rationale for the choice. If meta-analysis was performed, describe the model. Yes, they mention about the model, but in mention the model, but not so clearly. And in the result, literature search and article selection, the initial database search strategy returned 239 records on the basis of the titles and abstracts. 180 studies were excluded. The remaining 59 articles that suggested the assessment of the both nutritional status and the quality of life in the people aged 65 and over were examined. Of these, 35 were excluded as they clearly did not meet the inclusion criteria. This left 24 eligible studies, with an additional 6 studies having been identified from reference list for inclusion. A total of 30 studies involving 3,903 participants were included in this review. Characteristics of included studies were given. Methodological quality of included studies. For the outcome physical component of the quality of life, for which there was most data, funnel plot examining potential publication bias was undertaken. The funnel plot is the plot of a measure of the study size on the vertical axis as the function of the effect size on the horizontal axis, and they are mentioning how they plotted the funnel plot. And then the funnel plot for the interventional studies appear to be symmetrical, suggesting absence of the publication biases. We also assess the same bias by using precision, the inverse of the standard error, to predict the standardized effect size divided by standard error. In this case, intercept 0.49, 95% confidence interval, p-value 0.338, suggested no bias. So in the results section, they describe the result of search and selection process from the number of records identified in the search to the number of studies included in the review. And the side studies that might appear to meet the inclusion criteria. Yes, they cited, but not in separate tabular form. They did not made a separate tabular form, but they mentioned the studies in the theoretical form. Study characteristic. Cite each included study and present each note. They did not cite it, each study separately, and they did not present their characteristics. Risk of bias is studied. Yes, risk of publication bias is assessed. A result of individual studies for all outcomes of each studies, and they told the summary of each group in different paragraphs, and the result of synthesis. For each synthesis, briefly summarize the characteristics and risk of bias among contributing studies. Note, they did not summarize briefly. They summarized the briefly the characteristic and risk of bias among studies, but not separately or clearly. Yes, they report the bias and certainty of evidence. Present assessment of certainty in the body of evidence for each outcome was assessed. In the discussion section, the evidence present in this review is limited by the relatively poor quality of many of the included intervention studies, particularly in relation to blinding. Few trials used placebo supplements, and bias may have resulting from outcome assessors being aware of the treatment status or the quality of life measures not being carried out blind to the nutritional assessment, or patient in the treatment group receiving a higher standard of the care. Only 3 trials, as mentioned, reported that outcome assessors were blinded. Not all trials reported intention to treat analysis. The participants in some studies were excluded from the analysis because of incomplete quality of life questionnaire, incomplete nutritional assessment, or the participants could not visit the hospital. Older people may find quality of life questionnaire overwhelming, and measuring subjective health status are concept difficult to grasp, and contributing to the number of incomplete questionnaires and dropout rates were not estimated. They mentioned the limitations of their study. In the discussion should provide a general interpretation of result in context of other evidence. Yes, they provided. Discuss any limitations of the evidence included in the review. They mentioned the limitations. Discuss implication of the result for the practice policy and the future research. Yes, especially in the conclusion. In the conclusion portion, they mentioned and recommended about future research in this topic. In the conclusion section, evidence in the current review comes from the both cohort studies and intervention trials. Intervention trials result from the former suggested that individuals at the high risk of the malnutrition are more likely to experience poor quality of life. Consistent with this, Intervention designed to improve nutritional status can be lead to significant improvement in the quality of life, both physical and mental aspects. However, the results have to be interpreted with the caution in view of the poor quality of the included studies and the heterogeneity of the methods employed in the assessment of the both nutritional status and the quality of life. Future studies should carefully characterize their participants and use standardized parameters for nutritional and quality of life assessment in order to achieve better evaluation and comparability of study result. In the absence of a universally accepted gold standard for evaluating nutritional status, it is recommended to make use of validated tool MNA SGA that combine multiple indicators of the malnutrition and assign them a weight within the overall scale. Use of such global score of the nutritional status or validating multifactorial assessment tools to categorize patients into the varying degrees of the nutritional depletion are not only crucial in the establishing a clear link between the nutritional status and the quality of life, but also facilitates the comparison of study results. Similarly, to evaluate the quality of life, there are many tools to choose from. However, none has been universally recognized as a perfect, and consensus is lacking as to which instrument to use. When selecting an instrument, the appropriateness of item content, reliability, validity, and specificity of target population, practically and feasibility of application should be considered. It can be argued that there is need to use nutritional specific measures of the quality of life as well as generic measures, but we are not aware of any such measure whose validity and reliability has yet been adequately tested. In the absence of nutrition specific measures of quality of life, the existing generic tool can be used to assess the impact of nutritional status and the quality of life. For example, SF-36 can be used where a detailed and the broad ranking a broad-ranging assessment of the quality of life is required. EQFT can be employed for a more succinct and assessment, particularly for the patient in whom substantive changes in health is expected. In more information, they mention about declaration of interest. The author declared that they have no conflict of interest. They mentioned about funding. This study was conducted with the assessment of the small research grant from the Wales Office of the Research and Development for Health and Social Care, Ward, UK, but they had no role in the study design, data collection, analysis, manuscript preparation, and revision or decision for publication of the current report. In the other information, as I told earlier, they mention about the funding and about the conflict of interest. Now coming to the strengths of this article, title is self-explanatory with type of studies. They mention the article is systematic review and meta-analysis. Yes, methodology is well explained. Inclusion, exclusion criteria are mentioned. Discussion include comparison and contrast with other studies. Limitation of studies, especially limitations of studies are given. Publication bias is assessed, and recommendation for future research in this field are also mentioned. Source of funding is also mentioned. These are some of much strengths of this article. And there are some limitations in the article. That abstract was unstructured, no specific heading of abstract is mentioned. Prisma flow chart is not given, no tabular representation of included studies, and no any study is clearly mentioned separately in any tabular form. No tabular and graphical representation of results are present. And this is the YouTube channel of this is the YouTube link of our channel where all presentations and journal talks are uploaded. Kindly like and subscribe. And thank you for attentive listening.
Thank you very much. Very nice presentation. Would you please like to tell us what was the registration process of the systematic review, and is it registered in Prospero? Could you hear me, Dr. Marina? Dr. Marina, please unmute your mic.
Yes,
I'm asking you about the registration of the systematic review. Is it registered? Because you have not mentioned in your presentation.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. This is registered. Sorry, I have not mentioned.
Where it has been registered and how you know it?
Registered in Elsevier. It is registered in Elsevier. Article history is received 12 August 2012, received in revised form in 21 November 2012, accepted 27 November 2012, available online 8 December 2012. And madam, registration number I have not seen.
Okay, what is the difference between systematic review and meta-analysis? Would you elaborate?
Yes, ma'am. In the systematic review, we did a literature review and tell the summary of our result. But in the meta-analysis, we quantitatively add up their results, for example, percentages, and if we want to find the prevalence, then we will find pool prevalence of overall all results of all studies, and we then pool prevalence, and then we made results from that all by combining all studies.
I think your definition and your elaboration of systematic review, it is incomplete. There are 4 basic steps whenever we do systematic review. As you have mentioned, that the PRISMA guidelines have not been given. So they must give their PRISMA guidelines, and it is necessary that first define the searching string and the types of databases. That is called the first step, and that is search. The second step is appraisal. Appraisal means that the predefined literature, inclusion, exclusion criteria, and the quality of the assessment criteria that must be mentioned. And we know that by flowing through the PRISMA flow chart, it is very easy to do the appraisals. The third step and the most important step is about synthesis, where we extract and categorize the data, and we would like to see what are the different important themes and sub-themes and categories that are emerging out of the data. And the last and the most important part is analysis, that would help us to find the new conclusion or find the new results. So the beauty of systematic review is that all the important data sources, review articles, literature review, they may lead to different conclusion after the systematic reviews. This whole method can be given the name SALSA. SALSA means S for search, A for appraisal, L for literature review and analysis, and the S stands for the conclusion and important search findings. So this SALSA would help us to find out the important systematic review and how to conduct it. So my last question is about the how many studies they have included in this literature review, and what are the two important studies that have given the different results as the conclusion of this systematic review?
Ma'am, 30 studies were included. 30 studies were included in this research. And the two
And what are the two most important studies? And how you know that these are the most important studies?
sorry, ma'am.
When you have included certain studies, you have to go for the citations of those studies. You can use Google Scholar as well as other softwares like Publish and Parish. And there are many other softwares that are available to find out the number of citations that are present for each study. Once you have found that there are largest number of citations for those studies, those two studies become your key studies. That are two key features or the two key studies that would help you in determining the findings of your systematic reviews. And that is determined on the citations, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So thank you very much, everyone. I hope everyone has learned a lot during today's session. And in the next systematic reviews, I hope that the whole search strategy would also be elaborated. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, ma'am. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, ma'am.